So here I am in my Meta home space. On the right controller, I'm going to press the Meta button. This is for the Quest 3. On the Quest 2, the equivalent is the Oculus button. It will have the O logo. In any case, this button is your lifeline. Press it at any time to pause whatever app you're in and bring up the universal menu bar. And from that universal menu bar, you can access the app library for the headset, change headset settings, and do many other things. The second most important input on the controllers would be the trigger buttons at the back of the controller. They function like the left mouse button. You press them to select the highlighted item, and they're interchangeable. By default, the right controller is the dominant one, but if you press the left trigger, that can make that controller the dominant one. So again, press the Meta button to bring up this universal menu bar. Let's go to the app library. That's the icon with 9 squares and a 3x3 arrangement. Depending on which headset you're using and the version of the operating system, the styling and arrangement of the icons might be different, but the app library is always this specific icon. So I'm going to open the app library, and the app library window opens. To navigate this app library, you can use the analog stick on either controller to move up and down. Alternatively, you can squeeze one of the trigger buttons, and then while holding that trigger, you can move the controller up and down to navigate, scroll through the window. You can also use the search function in the toolbar, the vertical toolbar to the left of the window. And in this case, Atopia is near the top of the window, so I just point to and select it. In this instance, Atopia is already installed. So for most apps, the left analog stick functions as the movement input. So push up to move forward, push the analog stick down to move backward, push it left and right to strafe or sidestep left and right respectively. The right analog stick will function as a pivot, left and right, up and down. Let's see here. In some apps, again, these controls aren't universal, but in some instances you can hold the analog stick in one direction and then release to teleport to that spot in space. So let's see. Okay, so on the right controller specifically, if I push up and hold up, I see a projection of my trajectory, and if I release, I'll essentially teleport to that spot. So that can make traversing a VR world more efficient and also less nauseating for some people. Okay, and also this particular app, if you look at the controllers, there will be a summary of the controls. So the two experiences chosen for this course are both provided by the Met. There's Oceania. So I'm going to point to and press one of the trigger buttons to select it. Oceania, A New Horizon. I can always go back. The other experience is Dendir Decoded. So this is the Atopia app and the two Met experiences that have been chosen. Again, at any time in any app, you press the Meta button to pause that app, and the window to quit the app will appear, and also the universal menu bar is accessible, and most recently open system window appears. So even though they're both being displayed at once, the universal menu bar and the system window takes precedence. So I'm going to quit this app. Now we're back in the home space. I'm going to press the Meta button again. The app library also contains the app store. So again, hypothetically, if Atopia is not already downloaded and installed, or if you're using your own Meta account and you want to download and install Atopia, just point to and select the store app from within the app library. You can go to the search bar and then type in Atopia using the virtual keyboard, Atopia. And it will appear in the apps and games window. So there's a couple of ways to access those two Met experiences within the Atopia app. The third way will be to use the browser app. So we're going to press the Meta button again, the Oculus button on a Quest 2, and then go to the browser app. So I believe these four apps, store, feed, chats, and browser, they're pinned by default at the top of the app library window. Let's select and use the browser. Okay, so I already have the page open. We've included the URL shortcut. So again, it is bit.ly/ARTH. And then we need to change the character set to include the hyphen or dash and 3999. We'll go to it. You might see this intermediary page. Just select, point to, and click. Continue to destination. And the shortcut URL will redirect you to this page. And scroll through the page, go to the section Recommended VR Experiences, Online Art Exhibits, and Interactive Installations. So we've included a link to the Atopia app, so you point to and select it, and then the page for that app will open up in a separate window, the page within the App Store. If it's already installed, like it is in this instance, we can start it from this window. Otherwise, this button here will be a download button. So that's a third way to access the Atopia app. The other exemplar that's been chosen is Phantom Gaze. As mentioned, it launches from a web page. So again, we can just launch it from this hyperlink on this web page created for the course. Phantom Gaze. We're prompted to add it to our browser library. That's optional. And we go to enter. You can choose to add or not add a page to your library. So the page contents are loading. In the lower right corner of this window, there is a toggle to enter VR mode. If you're looking at this web page outside of the VR headset, this icon will not be present. So I'm going to just point to and click. And then the VR, the immersive experience loads. So for this particular experience, the controls are similar to the Atopia app. Use the left analog stick to move in the space. Up to move forward, back to move back, left and right function as the pivot controls, as opposed to sidestepping in the Atopia app. The teleportation is mapped to the left analog stick, as well as the right analog stick. So I guess the left and right analog sticks mirror each other. They're duplicates. Now, if you want to adjust the volume, there's always the volume controls on the visor itself, the physical visor. It'll be on the underside toward the right. There's a decrease and increase parts. You can also adjust the volume from the universal menu bar. Press the meta button, and then depending on which headset and OS version you have, it'll be in the quick settings or quick controls. Those are the basics of navigating the Quest headsets.